I'm ready. I am hoping. Dave here. How are you? Today is the 5th of August, 11 o'clock in the morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm hoping that the stream is running. I guess so. I'm sure that all of you people will say, yes, it's fine. Or you'll say, where's Dave? Where's Dave? One or the other. It's cold. Here we go. It's showing me on the corner there that it is happening. But whether or not you can actually see me is another thing. So if you can throw something up there, that'd be great. All right, looks and sounds great. That's all I need to know. Thank you very much, John. Thank you, John. All right, the run sheet for today. Happy birthday, John Lafferty. All right, look, before I even get into the run sheet, how about we do this? Give me a second. Where are we? Where are we? Here's the birthday boy. And happy 48th to you, John. And what else have we got here? Heavy reverb, is there? I'm sorry about that. There shouldn't be. Maybe just in that intro. Let's go to the next one. Here's another pic of John hanging out with Barry. Barry's looking adoringly at him. I'm sure everything's going fine. John Lowry told me it's all good. So if there's some areas that it's not coming through correctly yet, well, I can't help that. All right, what have we got happening today? So there you go, John. Happy birthday. Happy 48th. I hope you're back from hospital and punching out some... no worries. Excellent. Okay, and I hope you're back from hospital and sitting there as a moderator. And I'll come back to this picture, which is of me. Good audio. Excellent. Here we go. I'm saying thank you for having a happy birthday wish. Some comments regarding last week on the dial indicator. Now, one of the comments was correct. When I had presumably marked one of the teeth and rotated from the front to the back of the table saw, that was telling me whether or not I was actually parallel to the miter slot, not telling me about my run out. So I've set the dial indicator up over there again this morning. I'll see if I can show you what's going to happen. I'll flick this one over there. And we will do that very, very soon. So that's going to be showing you how much run out I have on my ripsaw blade, which is a stinker. I've left it in there to really show you. I think I've got about 8 thou, which I think when you convert 8 thou to metric is about 1/4 of a millimeter. Now, when I'm ripping timber, that's not really a big issue. It's just like a wobble blade. But if I'm cutting melamine, that's why I need to go to a much better quality blade that's designed for, tracking really straight, because if it bounces around, that's where you get chip out either side. Okay, still in hospital, John. That's no good. Running great full speed. Okay, Stephen. Dave, you're good here in the Bahamas. Thanks, Dave Cash. Okay, so that's what we will be doing a little bit later on. I'll show you the run out. The winner of the Yellowbox shed and Stanton bench plans, that will be announced a bit later on. And I'm going to also have a little bit of a unboxing and go through the Ryder 69.5 low angle block plane, which is another plane that Axminster sent over to me. Father Brett Guthrie's drill press cabinet. He sent some photos of how he's made a cabinet, and then he's made the drawers the way that I made my drawers. And it's come up really well. He's used some scrap jarrah to do all the veneering on the edges of the melamine and also as drawer faces or drawer fronts, and you'll be amazed. Okay, so John, I was just going to say, John, if you want to be a moderator there, that'd be great too. Not a problem. Let me see, from the hospital bed, Bob Macca's new tabletop new benchtop thicknesser cabinet that he's made for it. And he's actually made the cabinet so when the benchtop thicknesser is on top of the cabinet, it's the same kind of a situation I have here. The outfeed goes onto his bench, and so he doesn't have to worry about stands hanging around the outside. The CNC video released. Finally, I got that thing done and put it out there. It's had a couple of thousand views, which is great. You just woke up from a nap, did you, Peter? There you go. Stick with us, buddy. Stay with us. It's only an hour. You'll be right. And Patreon, check out the rewards I'm offering, behind the scenes gossip, photos from where you're watching or projects you're building in the shop. We want to see what's happening. And thank you to the patrons who are supporting the channel. It is fantastic. Thank you so much. I have managed to get out and get some boards, because the CNC machine is sitting there waiting and saying, you know, we could be doing things here. And I will. The other thing is, next weekend, I won't be getting a video out next week. I don't think I will. I may put out a Barry the Pug video, because I've got something. My daughter's got a new puppy and she brought it round, and Barry and the puppy would, you know. It's not very exciting, but people seem to like that kind of stuff. I don't know what, tell me if you reckon it's worthwhile putting a video out like that. It's only going to take me 5 minutes to do it. Oh, here's something about the CNC video. Now, you know that I live in an area that has got an extremely slow internet connection, and I just checked on the NBN website again last night, and it's been delayed another 3 months. Surprise, surprise. There you go. It won't be until March, and I bet you it won't even happen then. It'll be after that and after that. Andrew, thank you very much for that support. That's fantastic. I feel like one of those ice skaters, you know, they skate around, do the thing, and people throw flowers out on roses onto the ice, and people pick them up. Thanks for that, Andrew. That's lovely. Thank you. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is we'll go over and have a look at this run out on the dial indicator, because people seem to like that kind of stuff rather than me chatting. Definitely worthwhile. Barry's a legend. Okay, puppy videos a go. Some people hate puppy videos. I don't mind them, you know. As I say, there's not going to be much to it, and it's going to be quick for me. The reason being, we're doing a stock take next week in the Carbotech, and I'm going to be under the pump with that. I'm really not going to have any time to play in the shed. So I think if I can do that quick, that'll just keep everyone, you know, content. Here we go. I'm going to jump over to the other camera. Alrighty. Now, you'll see that I've got this set up, and I've done an amazing setup here where I've actually put a box up above here to act as a shade to stop the light onto the dial indicator, because I couldn't see it. And I'm going to rotate this to 0. And I've already undone that little screw clamp on the side here, so I can do that. And people were complaining about parallax error last week. Well, that should be fine there. Is that about on 0 for you guys? Now, I'm going to slowly rotate this blade. Now, this is my old rip blade. And as I say, it's got about 8 thou. I'm in the center there. Just watch what happens to that dial indicator as I rotate. Now, so far, that's not so bad. It's only 2 thou. 3 thou negative. And I'm trying not to bend the blade. So it's staying around the... it's coming up to 4 thou negative there. Just over. No, still 3 thou. What am I doing? I'm drinking the ink. And now it's coming back down, and I think it's going to go positive. There we go. 1, 2. Oh, it's not so bad. So 2, and then negative 3. So it's plus 2, negative 3. As I say, with this old blade, it's very hard. So there you go. That's just tracking around the face of that. So I thought I'd do that to show a new Barry video would be cool. All right, I'm going to switch the cameras back. That was an exciting piece of the show, wasn't it? As I say, that was basically, someone made comment last week that I'd got it wrong as far as run out on the blade and the arbor. And it was only basically checking to see whether my blade was parallel to the miter slot, which is the big thing. And you can see he was dead right. course he's right. And if I'm wrong, I will definitely admit it and say, you know, thanks for reminding me. I'm only human, and as I say, I'm only just one guy here. Okay, Stephen, Dave, when I finally get the NBN, it will only be available as a box on the wall, not cable. Speed in the meantime has been reduced by Telstra to a snail's pace. That's no good. They tell me I'm going to get fibre to the curb outside my house, which is basically the optical fibre to the curb, and then coming into the property, it's about 80 metres, which is... I was just reading a little comment on the side there, but I get distracted easily, as you know. So 80 metres, and I shouldn't lose too much speed there. I'm hoping I'm going to get around about 30 meg up. Now here's the thing. The video I did on the CNC was 3 gigabytes. It's 3.2 in total. Now, I started uploading that around about 4:30 in the afternoon for a 5 a.m. release time on the internet, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Now I'm looking at the clock over here doing my sums as I'm talking to you. Yes, so lucky me. Now, it was doing it at around about 1% of that video, which is 320 megabytes, every 11 minutes or so. And I did my sums and I thought, it's not going to be released till, it's not going to finish uploading till about 9 in the morning. But then during the evening, around about 9:30, I checked it again and it was about the same speed. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but it kicked up in speed. It's just started, it got down to 5 minutes per percent. And so the whole video finished loading by 4:30 in the morning with half an hour for it to do its post-processing. So if you've done any YouTube stuff yourself, you'll know that you'll upload the video and then it goes through a little bit of a post-processing. It sorts it all out in YouTube's computers and storage over there, and then it's ready. On his birthday, thanks, John. Yes, I hope you're having an above average day. That's a point. John's giving away a present on his birthday. And that's how it should be. You know, you shouldn't be receiving gifts, you should be giving gifts. All right, let me see what we've got here, and we will have a little bit of a look at some of the things. Now, Julie Lark sent in a lovely photo of her testing the prize that she won. And here you go, Julie, this is a wonderful photo, and I'm sure that Derek took it for you. And I will read quickly what she said here. Julie, hi Dave, here I am with the Gros Squares, checking the new saw stop in readiness for some picture framing. Thank you to Carbotech, Gros, and especially you for the great prize and entertaining show. Well, thank you very much for that, Julie. There's your couple of seconds in the limelight, and thank you very much for getting the photo taken and sending it in to me as well. That's great. Okay, now here's the question from Andrew. Dave, what res is your video live and later when I watch your recorded version? It's always soft when I'm watching. Okay, the video is sent out at full HD, but because the internet connection here is so slow, I am uploading at the moment at 0.6 to 0.8 of a megabyte a second. So what happens is that the things around me, like that on-air sign, and if you see still pictures, they'll look reasonably sharp. But as I'm moving my hand around and moving like this, you'll see that it starts to get soft because it can't keep on rendering and getting all of that image up the tube to you guys, because it's restricted. So what it does, it pixelates for a while, and then areas that it doesn't have to render, it just leaves them alone. So stationary images like the edge of my Capex over there and things like that, they reduce the amount of upload that needs to happen to give you a clear picture. So I'm sorry if that's affecting you, but I'm stuck with it. I can't do anything about it. You'll notice that my videos that I release on a project, like the video I did on the CNC, was reasonably sharp. There was a couple of spots there that it wasn't, because the way that I created that video, I used a lossy file. So I re-rendered it a couple of times so it will soften down a little bit. But I'll tell you, it makes it so much quicker for me to be able to do that. Now, as I say, 8 hours of work for 5 minutes of video. And that was a 40-minute video. And actually, the main video that I cut that down from was 3 hours. So please forgive me that I've spent an awful lot of time creating these things, and you know, if I'm not getting it 100%, I'm not a TV studio. I'm just a guy in the shed. We've got to remember that. It's just me. All right. Thanks, Dave. Just wasn't sure if it was where I am located or such. Sometimes that can have an effect. If it's stuffed at both ends, well, it's likely to be doubly stuffed. Okay. Next thing, Nick Givens has sent in a photo because I keep asking people to send things in, and Nick has sent this photo in of his shed at home. I think this is under the house, and you will notice that he has got a big piece of stuff over his table saw. And I'll read a couple of things that he's put. This was on Facebook this morning. He put in, just remembered you asked for a shop pic, Dave. Not the best photo. The silver cover for my store stop is because the room above is tongue and groove floor. And once my dog got shut in there, did her business, which then rained down on my table saw. A poor dog. Oh, that's terrible. Imagine, apart from the mess, the embarrassment the dog would feel. Never again, he says, pleased with the additional vac mounted up high for the table saw too. A recent addition on the cheap. Arlec remote along with my main Dusty makes life so easy. If you have a look at the top there, you'll see a top left corner of that picture. Nick has got an orange and black dust extractor, like a little shop vac of some sort, perched up right up high on the RSJ, which is pretty good. It's pretty good, and so he's got a little remote wireless control power point up there, and it turns it on and off. So it's a great idea, Nick. And the half-finished contraption on the left is my nearly finished router table. Fences are still a work in progress, and haven't we all got works in progress? Next thing, back to me again here, and I'll do some reading. Stuart Cottrell, just resided a glass to you for your birthday and your health. Cheers. Oh, that's for John. Good on you. Enjoyable watch. Bernie, Stefan, Rufus, we can still hear. Barry Doxy, it's a good video. Thank you. I hope you did enjoy the CNC construction video. It was very hard for me to work out what actually to do with it. I've seen other people's videos on it, and it's kind of a skip through on how to build it. And you know, it's been done before. And I wanted to make it just a little bit different. So I thought I'd get into it in a little bit more depth. And the main one that I've done, I'm going to break up into around 4 or 5 videos, and I'll release those over the next few weeks. So if you see something about CNC and you're not interested, well, I totally get that. That's fine. But if you're very interested in CNC, because it's a whole new ball game for me, and you'll see me make mistakes. My spoil board at the moment, if you've seen a picture of the spoil board on the CNC, has got a dirty big rip for around about 18 inches through it. And what happened there was, the machine was doing all its stuff, creating the spoil board, and I decided to stop it and pause it. And then I thought I was a little bit smart, and what I did was, when I came back and turned the machine back on again, I said to start from this line in the G code. And I'd moved the gantry in the meantime. And I don't know why I did that. I'd raised the cutter up or something like that. Anyway, I said to, start from the last position you were at. And the next thing you know, the CNC just went bang straight into the spoil board towards me. And you've never seen me move so quick. I was straight to the automatic stop, bang. And then I think, thank heavens I didn't snap the cutter. But I'll tell you what, it is a solid, strong machine. Unbelievable. And again, thank you so much to CNC Router Parts and everyone that's supported me in that area. I didn't ask for it. They just approached me. Vectric approached me, and I've told you the story before, and CNC Router Parts came to the party and said we'd love to do it. And I was never in the market for a CNC, but I'll tell you what, once I've got it, now I would look seriously at going and getting one if I wasn't given one. Anyway, next thing. I did say that I've got Bob Macca's stuff here. Let's have a look at that. Bob Macca, where are you? Okay, so this is the cabinet that he's building. It's upside down. I'm just going to close a couple of things over on the side here. People are making comments on other parts of YouTube. Why aren't you in here watching? You should be watching, not looking at my other videos. So Bob's got this, Bob has this cabinet. I don't know if he's repurposed an existing cabinet, but he's put some, looks like 90 or 75 by 38 pine around the bottom, and he's putting some, where are they? Some casters on. And I think he's worked out the height of his casters and that piece of timber. He might have thicknessed it down so that it would end up like this perfect height. And that is a gun little benchtop thickness. So Bob will tell you, I have my third one now. I bought another one. And that might sound strange, but what happened was I had one for about a year, and I had a customer walk into the store where I work part-time and said, I need one of those straight away. I'm leaving for Ballarat in the morning. I can't hang around. And so what he did was, changing the camera back over here, I said to him, look, you can buy mine second-hand if you want to. You know, I'd rather you left happy than, you know, mucking around doing, you know, going to another store possibly and buying something from them. You know, be honest about it. And he said, yep, not a problem. So he's still using that machine. That's 3 years ago, and it's going great. So I bought one to replace it because I enjoyed it so much. Anyway, off it went. Then I bought the big heavy one because my daughter was doing some stuff, and I thought, yeah, I need a larger size machine, 15-inch. And it's a great machine, but for little things I found that little benchtop machine is better because it doesn't have any rollers in the middle. It's not as aggressive when it's grabbing hold of the timber. You know, the big one's for big stuff. So I bought another one of those, and I will do an unboxing video on it because it is such a nice machine. I have done a video on it before. It's a bit of a challenge, is it, for you, Stephen, with getting the perfect height? You have multiple stacking components, which multiplies any areas. Well, of course, and also if your floor's not straight. We're just talking about Bob Macca's getting his cabinet perfectly right for running timber out. And what you can do is you can obviously make the height a couple of millimeters higher, so as it's coming out and will start to roll off and drop down onto a bench, you can do that as well. Next thing. Stuart Cotterill. Let's have a look at what Stuart's got here for me. I'm hoping I've got Stuart Cotterill stuff here. Indeed I do. Now Stuart sent some stuff in about the Betterly track joiner. So Dave, he says, great show, and the next day found me resetting the saw stop fence with vigor. Okay, so that's regarding the dial indicator. This arrived in the mail, now sold through Festool, a little pricey but excellent aid for aligning and securing two guide rails. Works for Festool, Makita and other tracks. Simple idea, but it works. And I will show it on the tracks now. He's got a couple of Makita tracks there. They have a good video on Betterly website showing its application and accuracy over full length. You are probably aware of this. I was, as a matter of fact, but I don't care being told again. Take care as always. I did order 15 of the bench plugs from John. Likely will order more after trying these. Alrighty, so now we'll come back to here. I'm going to close this other one again. Stephen keeps making comments on my other videos and throwing up in the corner. So Steve, stay here. Were you an interesting child, Steve? Were you one of those ones that's always wanting to do things and your parents said, now Steve, you stay here and finish dinner. Halfway through you'd be up and going doing something else. I'm sure. All right, so there we go. And we'll do Brett Guthrie's as well at the moment. Why not, while we've got everything happening here. So where are you, Brett? Now Brett, this is a little video that I've got for him. There's no sound on it, so we'll just track through. And this is the face of his drill press roll around cabinet. And there's the drawers, and you can see they're open, and on the either left and right hand side you can see where he's faced them with Jarrah. Now this is a very slow video, basically a slideshow. There's a couple of handles on. I'll read it. Blessings, Dave, because as I say, Father Brett is a man of the cloth, so it's always nice when he sends blessings to me. Please find attached pictures of a base I made for my drill press using nothing but scrap. The miller mine is edged with 3mm Jarrah face plywood. The front is reclaimed Jarrah lining boards finished with Osmo hard wax oil. I will be putting a false bottom in the bottom drawer to take all my Forstner bits. Confession, I have to admit, I learned an awful lot on this little journey with drawers on full extension runners. Thanks for your video on how to make drawers. Cheers, Father Brett. And there's the image of Father Brett's shoes down there, so I'm guessing his feet are inside that as well. He's very proud of those two planes, isn't he? They're always in the picture, but I think that's wonderful. Thank you very much for sending that in to us, Brett. And Brett doesn't get to see the show live because he's over in Western Australia and he's either preparing for the day in church, or he's actually there. Now, those pictures of the planes are going to bring me to the Ryder 69.5 hand plane. Now, I was going to do this little demo over there and use the other camera, but I think I will do it here. So I'm going to swing the Stanton bench around here. And don't go away, because I've got the winner of the Yellowbox bench dogs, the starter set, and also the Stanton bench, which is this bad boy. So you won't be winning the actual bench, you'll be winning the plans for the lucky recipient. And this, see how easy it is? I love this bench. Alrighty, there we go. That wasn't too hard. Get my glasses back, because I'm blind without them. I've been thinking about getting my eyes done. Has anyone out there done that? Had laser work or anything done on your eyes? I'm short-sighted. Well, I'm long-sighted, I should say. So it's a normal thing, they say. It was around about when I was 46, mid-40s. Things just started to become a little bit blurry. And, you know, that's near 15 years ago. So I should have really, but I don't know. It's one of those things. I like technology to make as much advancement as possible before I let them work on my bits. That didn't sound right. My eyes, bits of body is what I meant. Okay, here we go. This is the box for the Ryder 69.5. I don't know why they didn't call it 69.5 or just a low angle block, but it's their little baby. And again, just like the 62.5, I think it was, it's got all of this gear in here. Now, they've got a little booklet that tells you all about all of their different hand planes from Axminster, and they're lovely. They're absolutely lovely. Again, the spongy foam. And the sock, look at this. On a cold day, you could wear this as a mitten. If you had very large hands, you'd have to buy a number 7. It'd come down to here. I'm an idiot. Anyway, it's got a little drawstring on the inside there as well, so you can slide the plane in there. And the sock is designed not to put on your feet, but to put the plane into in case you're in an area where you may get corrosion. It's a pretty nice thing. Here we go. I would not advise laser, just wear multifocals all the time. Is that right, Greg? Okay. Presbyopia. Okay. How cool is that? Thank you so much. If you weren't aware, Greg's a doctor. So, doctor of medicine. Because I believe there's all sorts of different types of doctors. Yeah. So here we go. In the brown paper, in that beautiful box. And that's, how nice is it? It's got this nice big brass area here, which is part of the blade retainer. So it pushes down on the front of the blade, and it's got a clamp at the back. So instead of screwing down here and having a lever cap, this is held down in that manner. I'm going to bring the camera in closer. How's that? Greg, you've got it as well, have you? Oop, here we go. Isn't that nice? It's just a thing of beauty. Look, John's magnets are sticking to it. That's the only downside with these plugs if you put magnets on all of them. My suggestion is you put magnets on the ones that around the edges, but the plugs themselves are fantastic. Look at that. As I said, there's a screw there, but we don't touch that one. It just stays tight. On the back here, we've got this screw, and I'm going to undo that. Which way does it go? That way. And that lets me pull this out. So underneath, this pushes down onto the top of the blade here. Just at the back there. Now, in here, this is the blade, and I'm going to get my calipers and measure it. If I can find, if they're out here. I'm hoping they are. Oh, that was lucky. Put the specs on. What kind of, if I didn't want to wear contact lenses then, Greg, what would I do for my eyes? If I wanted to get something that was a permanent fix that I didn't have to worry about anything ever again. I'm sure you're going to throw up some comment there. Now, I'm going to put that on there. And that says it's 2.98. So you know what? That's close enough to 3 millimeters to me. .99. And the width of the blade, 41.39 or 0.40 millimeters. Now, I don't know why we all need to know that, but it's handy. It makes me sound intelligent. And as always, I pull the little battery retainer out of my calipers so it doesn't send the battery flat, because that will happen in this particular style. All right, so the blade has three, another dog come up, there we go. The blade has three little slots up here. And that's because as the blade is used and worn out at the end, because you'll probably sharpen this and sharpen it and sharpen it, as that happens, you've got this little lug just in the middle, right there. I can't move that out of the way, but it's right there. And that is connected to this screw. See it sliding down ever so slowly. And the screw, you can see in the back there. So it pushes that. It's a carriage that slides. I'm just trying to see if I can show it to you better. This part here that I've got my fingers on, that gives my blade adjustment at the end. So that if it's not perfectly 90 degrees, I can adjust it and just take it up and adjust it. But underneath that, you can see underneath through here, you can see the black section in there. This keeps on going down underneath this. So they're independent from each other. On the front, you have this, the front knob is actually a clamp. And that allows this guy to push the front of the blade, sole forwards. So I will release this, undo that, and you watch. I'm turning that, see it just pop out, and then back in. On the other side, and you can see it opening the mouth and closing the mouth. Now the reason that's there is that as you're planing, if you're planing a piece of timber and the shaving is coming out, it might start to actually lift the piece of timber in front of the blade before it's actually been cut. It might start tearing it. So you reduce, if the mouth is open too wide, so you reduce the opening down really close to the blade if you have that issue. And that works really well. Okay, I'm going to read what Dr. Greg is saying here for a second. All right, Darren Allen. Laser surgery is very effective and cheap now. Peter Hilton, it's rubbish to me anyway, not worth the price of admission. Okay, I'm guessing you're talking about the Wood River Plain. Greg, this wear multifocal graduated glasses. Mine have 3 zones: distance, mid-range, computer, screen, and reading. Greg, Stephen, yours too. Get the best lenses you can afford so you get the biggest keyhole. Greg, I also have a pair that just has mid-range and reading that I wear at work. Don't need distance in consulting room. Okay, I'm just trying to, yeah, you wouldn't need distance in the consulting room, obviously. Steve, I have 3 pairs of glasses. How many pairs of hats have you got, Stephen? Kevin, could you give imperial sizes too, please? Yes, I can indeed. I'll open the digital, sorry, I was going to say imperial and metric. you know, metric really isn't hard to learn. It's a piece of cake. I'm going to convert this over by pushing this button here to inches. That's point, and now I'm in fractions, okay? So I'll switch this back, get the blade, and there we are. That's a whole lot easier to understand, isn't it? It's basically 1/8, 15 1/128ths, and I've probably got a little bit of error, but it's close enough to 1/8. I'm twisting the blade ever so slightly. There you go. See that? I've twisted it in the jaws of the calipers. So nearly 1/8 of an inch, just under, according to my calipers. And the width is... That can't be right. Ah, I've hit the wrong button there. Here we go. Open and closed. There you go. That's easier to understand, isn't it? Much easier than metric. 1 81 128ths. Why would you be imperial? Why? I don't understand. I understand that there's things that, you know, are perfect in metric, in a fraction, like pi, 3 1/7. That's all there is to it. And I think it's 3.12 something in metric. Anyway, we're getting away from the subject a little bit. Now, the blade, when I got it out of the box, you'll notice on the top of the blade here, you can see a little bit of a reflection. Now, when Chris Pouncey, I should say, was over here doing the Robert Sorby tour, I was listening to what he was saying, and he was saying, sharp does not show a reflection. If something's sharp, you will not see a reflection on it. So he's talking about the point, obviously. Now, I can see the slightest reflection on that, but more so on the back of the blade. So I was going to give this a quick touch with the DMT, and I'll make sure that I've got it on. It's got fine and extra fine. I think I'm going to do it on coarse. I won't do the extra coarse. How good is this? I don't know if you can see it there. It tells me I'm trying to work backwards at the same time. See on the here, it says coarse, pointing down, and the other end, extra coarse, pointing up. So this is the extra coarse side, this is the coarse side. I'm going to wet this a little bit. Because I can. And put that in there. And I'm going to just touch the back of this blade a little bit. I love this diamond stone set that Matt sent over to me. I use it all the time. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's just about disappeared. I'll get a rag. Still a bit there. Maybe I should have started with the extra coarse. Yeah. Ever so slight. Yeah, this one, I was super impressed with the sharp. I'm going to flip it over to the extra coarse and give it a bit of a go there. I was super impressed with the 5.5 or 62, but the extra coarse, I just need to give it a quick. Some people ask me, Dave, why use the coarser papers? Why not just use 220? Why rough something up? Start at 220 or 240 and see how I go. And I think, you're making an awful lot of work for yourself. It may seem counterproductive. Have a look at that. You can see where it's really coarse over there and towards the tip there. I'm almost there, nearly. You see the hollows there. So I say to people, start with a course and work through. I normally start at about 80 grit. If it's something really, really rough, I'll start at 60. And then I'll work through. I keep telling people I do 80, 120, 180, 240, 320. And about there, you're almost done. Some people like to go a whole lot more. And people will go out to things like 2,000, probably even more. I've seen polish that's 11,000. That's crazy insane. But what's happening there is if you're wanting to work on things like perspex, and then you can get perspex so good that you can see straight through it. You won't even notice. You won't even notice that it's that's been cut or sanded. It's just mirror finish, but you can see straight through it. And that's how they do it. They go down to those insane grades. But for woodwork, it's no good because you're starting to close up the pores, and makes it very hard for any finish to get a hold of. I'm going to go to fine now. A little bit more water on that if I can. Just a touch. Come on, I don't want it to all start running out. Yep, there we go. I was sure I put some water in there. Alrighty. Now there's something different today, and no one's noticed it. No one's picked up on it yet. Can anyone guess what it is? Something different. Who sells the Axminster planes in Australia? I'll put a link down in the bottom for you if you want. But even if you were to get in touch with Axminster, they would tell you who their distributor is. I forget their name, and I shouldn't, because they're the actual people that sent it over to me. That's beautiful. I'll flip it over to superfine or extra fine. Super fine. And that's got water that's carried through from the other side. Another exciting episode of Dave Stanton Live. This will be interesting to see how it comes up. Oh, that's getting crazy sharp. And I'm going to give it a quick touch. With the extra fine, and then one, and that, and then hands drop. Dave M, you got it in one. New shirt. Oh, that's insane. See that edge? See the micro bevel I've got on the edge? Trying to get it to run, trying to get the light to run down it. Thought my shirt was pink. Now, I haven't done enough on the back there, and I will further down the track. But let's give it a try. It's one thing to actually sharpen a plane, but then we'll pop it in here. So that's where it is. I'll bring it over closer to there, that one. How's that? And then this is a bevel up plane. I can't put it in that way. It's got to go this way up. And I want to make sure that the jaw, the front of the mouth is wide open while I put it in. And I'm going to come down to that mark there and see how this moves the blade left and right. The important thing is to have it. I can adjust this up and down with that, see that? And then I'm going to put this cap in. How about we try and give this a bit of a clean up? I haven't got anything ready for it. I'm guessing something like a I don't think it's coated. I think it's just solid brass. I'm guessing something like Brasso or a polishing wheel of some sort. Yeah, there's going to be a whole lot of people will have different opinions on different companies' tools, and it's like anything. You're going to get a good one and you're going to get a bad one in a batch. And you know, my son used to play cricket, and what had happened there, I'm changing the subject ever so slightly. The one company that made cricket bats, you know, out of English willow, he would go down and he'd pick them all out and he'd go through them, and he'd say, good, rubbish. Yeah, he was very particular about what kind of bat he was going to have. So I'm guessing I need to just adjust this blade to start with and stop talking while I'm doing this part. Okay, I'm going to tighten up the clamp. And I'm going to look down the top. Whoa, that's too savage. I don't dare take that to the timber. That would be terrible. So I'm going to bring it back. Okay, back the blade, back the clamp off a little bit before I ask it to do that. Turning the knob counterclockwise works. And it's pulling the blade back up now. Clockwise again. Greg, what are you doing here? I thought you'd be at church today. Did you get a pass out, mate? And I'm going to adjust left and right. It's not going to be a whole lot for you guys to see. See, what I'm trying to do is, you can see on the left-hand side, just here, you can see how the blade is ever so slightly up in comparison to the rest of the blade. Anti-clockwise, Dave. Okay. Is it anti or counter? I've had people give me a hard time about that. Oh, this is beautiful. It's one of those things that once you get, I have to look at it against some light. So I've tipped it over the other side while I'm doing this. And my eyesight isn't helping. There we go. That's looking pretty good. And I need to take that up to there. I'm going to reduce the, see, there's the mouth. I can close it up a little bit and then tighten the clamp on the back, this one, to get it right. So this little handle here, that way or that way, opens and closes it. Got the morning off. Got the morning off. Love my hand stop. Hand strop. Ah, yeah, I've always hand stropped. It's, you know, it's just one of those things. I was taught it as an apprentice, and that's what I do. Now, the other thing, as I say, with I say too much. With these stones, with these diamond plates, you can't put them away wet. You've got to wash them and put them away dry. Otherwise, they'll start to rust, and I think you'll run the risk of the diamonds disappearing. They'll just start falling off from the corrosion of the base plate. Yeah, I think they are. I think everyone's going to have an opinion on counter, aren't they? Counter or anti. I think Ryder are basically made by Groz. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's their elite model. They look very similar. I'm getting a piece of timber to have a bit of a plane with. A little bit of jarrah. Now the block plane I use for doing an edge. Have a look at those little curlies in there. That's very impressive. I love it. And it's got a lot of weight too. This is a much heavier plane than any other block plane I've held. So I'm very, very happy with this. I'm going to do another couple of little strokes here. that's Jarrah that I'm planing there, which is by no means a soft timber. Let's get it in close. Come on, camera, you can do it. Got it. Sometimes it's hard to get focus on these things. And the edge that I'm having there is quite nice, and that was against the grain. I'll spin it around this way and tip the camera up ever so little bit there and go again. Now, this isn't going to mean a lot to a lot of people, but it's not bad, is it? I'm happy with that. And because it's a low angle, you can use it as a bit of a shooting plane as well. I prefer to use the big fellow. I'm going to grab that now and push this back this way to there. And give me a sec, I'll grab the other plane. I keep on calling this one a 5.5, it's a 62. So there's the 62, and there's the 69.5 beside it. They're very, very nice planes. I'm very happy with them. So if I had to buy one, if I didn't have a plane already and I had to actually buy one instead of someone giving it to me, I'd definitely consider them, definitely. It feels really nice in my hand. I'm going to tip that camera up a little bit more. Alrighty, so that's not too bad. Who wants to look at the CNC? That's very nice indeed. I might get the other camera and swing it around out into the garage. You have a look. I'm not going to turn it on, but it might be interesting to have a quick look. They say it both ways on commercials, John, did they? How about end grain? Well, I'm not going to do any end grain with it at the moment, but it will do end grain very, very well. That's what they're designed for. The reason I haven't got anything set up for it, John. I would use a shooting board, yeah, look, give me a sec, I'll have a quick look. I'm looking for my bench hook, which I found. I don't normally do off the cuff, but let's have a look. Here's a piece of cypress. This may or may not work. Oh yeah, that's nice. Glasses on. John, you can see the shavings there. Oh, sorry, Stephen, you can see the shavings there. I'll bring it up closer. There's a couple of the end grain shavings. And that's the piece that I just started working on. If I do that, you can see it a bit better. Yep, it's fine. Fine, fine, fine. Very happy with it. Lovely little plane. Yeah, okay, so as I said, who wants to have a look at the... Very interested. Okay, give me a second. I'll open this one up. And I'll spin... I'll bring this camera in, I think. It might be... Let's have a look, see if this one's going to work. There it is. I'll bring this camera, this over closer. And up like that. Now, you'll probably be able to see me in here. It's going to be a little bit more echoey. You can see from me walking around it, the size of the thing. Overall, it's around about 10 feet long and it's about 5.5 feet wide. That's its overall footprint. So the gantry is around 5.5 to 6 feet overall. So I've had to leave that space for it. I walk down the side, I've got a dust extractor over in the corner there. I've made a dust extraction line that runs over the top, and the dust extraction is fantastic. And that's that 1-horse Carbotech dust extractor that I talked about the other week with the pleated cartridge filter. It makes a huge difference. There is nothing underneath the machine. It's absolutely beautifully clean. Have I switched cameras or not? I don't know. I'm going to check that I've got everything happening. Yes, still all good. Okay, now, what else was I going to say? Timber rack. This is something I'll do a video on, but I'm stacking my sheet goods horizontally. They're dead flat. With thinner boards, if you stack them vertically, they tend to start to warp. And I've noticed at hardware stores, anything that I've seen in timber racks that's been upright, the boards have cupped and all over the place. All the boards that I've seen that have been flat stacked are still in really, really good nick. Now, I had all this pallet racking left over from when I was building. We'd bring back timber here after I'd finish a house, and then we would stack it onto the vehicles and take it off to the next house that we were building. So we weren't throwing anything away. We were holding on to the resources. So I had a fair bit of this stuff out the back here where that workshop is now. That was all open with a roof over it, and it was basically my depot. I'd bring all the timber back here and we take it off to the next job. It's all on wheels, and the table underneath is on wheels, and it just clears. This is going to be a table that when I bring timber in, or plywood or whatever, in to work on the CNC, I'll unload it off my trailer onto here, and then it will be sitting up here, and then I can lift it off that table straight up into the rack, or bring it down. I'm going to devise some kind of a ramp for it to come down here, then I slip it up onto the table there. But it all works quite well. I'm very happy with it. I only finished doing all of this last night, so I was a little bit tired. The machine, let me see, we're traveling awful close to 12 o'clock. We're just about done. The machine is great. I'm not going to turn it on. There's the computer at the front here. I'm going to look at some way of mounting, having a drawer slide under here that has the computer and everything that runs the machine underneath. It'll slide out and put it away when I'm finished with it. This is fine, but it's in the way when I'm not being used. It doesn't fit down the side there. I don't want to put it around here. There's all sorts of things. So I'm going through a whole lot of process. I'm going through a truckload of learning, and it's so much fun doing it. And I know that I'm in a very fortunate position to have been given this. It's fantastic. I'm over the moon about it. But on the other side of the coin, I do put an awful lot of time into this channel. And one person made the comment, couldn't have thought of a better person to receive this kind of thing. And thank you so much. That meant a hell of a lot to me. I keep producing and producing. And I know I get the thumbs up, and thank you so much for that. But then sometimes I think some people, not you guys, I'm sure, but there's some people just take it for granted. Oh yeah, Dave's on. It looks easy. There's a whole lot goes on behind the scenes, and that's why I talk about Patreon as well. Yes, I am in a very good position as far as what I have here, but it doesn't buy that stuff to put onto here to show you guys, and that's the kind of thing what I'm aiming with Patreon, to try and give you more video content and more of my ideas. And to do that, I have to buy consumables to be able to do that. Anyway, let's switch the camera back around there. It's a beautiful machine, isn't it? Don't you love it? And I get to share it with you guys. Let me slip that back over there. And I think I'm just about here. Let me have a look. You look ready for production. I do indeed, John. Thanks for that, Peter. Looks great storage setup. It is a great storage. I've seen so many people do the vertical, and I understand that for space, but I've got an awful lot of space in that pallet racking as well. That whole system is about 850 millimeters wide by 2.8 long, and however tall it is, you just cut it off to whatever height you need. And then the rackings in between. There's these little supports that drop in, and you put a cover board. Basically, that's what you call it, just the sheet that's not too much good, on the bottom. You slide stuff in and out, and it doesn't twist. And it doesn't take up that much space. I am going to put on the end of it, I'm going to build a little box that holds the timber that I've got over on the other side there, just verticals that are left over, like shorts of real timber, not plywood. And, ooh, am I allowed to say that? Anyway, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Oh, who won? Who won? Who won? Who won? I nearly just closed the show. Okay, so I'm going to read through a couple here. And I have to have a look down here because the person whose surname, they didn't give me their surname. It's just the person's first name. So that might be a bit of an indicator. If you give me your first name and your surname, you didn't win. So I'm reading through a few of these. I asked you to have a look at John's site and say what you like there. And you see the bench dog sets, the buddy angle bracket, the bench dog plugs, bench dog kits, the clamp bases, soft dogs and some clamps, cool tools, buddy track grip and Moxon handles, Moxon whole collection of products from Michael Christopher, straight with 96mm centers. Yes, they're one of my favorites as well. I love the 2 and 3 dog hole stop and also the 90-degree stop at the end. They're fantastic. Don't wish to sound greedy, but all of them, look, there's a heat there. There is an absolute heat there. The person who won, his name is Matthew, and you're in Australia. The Sustainer Accessories love the beer can holder. Now, what more of an Aussie response could we have got? There we go. Thanks to everybody for watching. Yes, it is Dexian shelving. It's also Dexian shelving or pallet racking, whatever you want to call it. If you go into a warehouse, that blue and orange stands out like the proverbials. So that's what I got, and I bought all mine second hand. So there are companies that pull warehouses apart. If a company's gone bust or something like that, you might find that you can buy the racking at auction, or there are people on the internet that sell it second hand. I think it was somewhere down near Bankstown that I bought all that. So for people in Sydney, that's the go. If you want something that's very handy for all sorts of things. I've got that. Vicky's got one over in her workshop as well. She stores all her molds she does slip work with the kiln, with pottery, and also a lot of her stuff for lead light she stacks on that. Gets it all out of the way. All right, I think we're just about done. I'm going to have a read through here. Where are we? Look forward as well as use old. Okay, Dave, you are a member of any CNC Facebook groups. Love to chat about the CNC. Joe, yes, I've joined the not the VCAF. John will tell me. John, quick, tell him what group we're a member of. The one, XCarve. I'm a member of that group, and I'm sure I'm going to join some others and get some more ideas, because what I see happening, these people blow me away with what they can do. It's fantastic. I'm going to get this ready for the outro and put it up there. Do a bit of a read. Quite the pun. Zane, don't forget John's dust port for the path guide. Yes, that'll be next week. John sent one up for me, so we'll have a look at that. Steve, thanks Dave, another great show. See you next week. John, thanks again for the great. Luke Wilson, XCarves users. Yes, thanks Luke. Thanks Dave. Nice to join you for a change. It's been great to have everyone here. Look after yourselves. I will see everyone next week. I feel like a little kid because I brought the hide up. Thanks for watching. See you later.